What's going on YouTube, man? This is my second rest in peace video for today. All right. The legendary Carl Weathers passed away yesterday in his sleep, 76 years old. And I am a massive fan of this man. I mean, I'm from the 80s. At that time, action films, guys like him, guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, those are the guys that I looked up at when I used to watch films. And Carl Weathers was one of those guys, watching him as Apollo Creed. I'm a huge fan of the Rocky franchise. I'm a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who he did work with in Predator, which I'm a big fan of the whole Predator series. I'm a big fan of the whole Rocky franchise. I'm a big fan of anything that has to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis. Like, all of those guys are the people that I grew up watching on television. If it's not athletes, it was these guys, and Rocky. No matter, I know people that love boxing. Some people don't like the franchise, but the franchise to me as a kid growing up was one of my favorite franchises. I still watch the movies all the time, every year, whenever it's on TV. I cannot scroll past it. The Rocky franchise, I cannot. If one of the movies is on, I can't unwatch it. You know what I mean? Even the music. I've listened to the music from the franchise working out. Like, I'm a huge Rocky franchise fan, and for Carl Weathers to pass, being a fan of the Predator movie when he's Dylan. When I think of Predator 1, I think of just masculine. This is the ultimate. You had Jesse the Body Ventura in there. You had Carl Weathers. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger. You had all these guys. You know, I just think of that movie. When I think of that movie, I think of when Arnold sees Carl Weathers, who plays Dylan in the movie, and they first greet each other. You know what I'm saying? He says, Arnold walks up to him like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. And they do that little handshake, arm wrestling moment. That's one of my favorite scenes out of the whole movie. And Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed, his death is probably one of the biggest deaths on all television ever. You know what I mean? I remember watching that as a kid and hating that scene, Drago killing him in the movie, and even like playing a role in like Happy Gilmore, where he's the retired golf player with the one arm that got bitten off by a crocodile. Seeing him in that movie, one of my favorite, very funny movie. And then you got him also now in the Mandalorian. That was just seeing him in that role and see him looking good. At the time is unfortunate. But him playing Greek Karga and seeing him in that role and just seeing the fact that he's still able to get roles at this stage in his life, was very happy for me to see. He is a legend, man, and him playing mainly Apollo Creed, basically playing Ali, and Rocky basically playing Joe Frazier, and they're just acting out real fighters, you know what I mean? And yeah, the movies are silly in a way because they're so unrealistic, but they are relatable at the same time. And I'm not gonna get into every movie. Of course, you had Action Jackson, and we could go down the long list. But I'm from that era, and a lot of people from that era wasn't into the movies like that. But I probably was into the movies simply because of my dad used to watch these movies, and I used to love whatever he watched. But Carl Weathers, when I look back at him back then, I look at him being masculine, muscle bound, athletic. And when I watch the Rocky films and when I've seen documentaries on when they would, I guess act out these scenes from the fights, and just the fact that they were actors being able to move the way they did that didn't make it so intense in these fights. The first Rocky, the second Rocky, Rocky Four, where Apollo, fought Drago, and then to go on and branch off and do the franchise with Creed, with Michael B. Jordan, and to continue that storyline. I think it's a beautiful thing. I love it. It's definitely one of my top five favorite franchises of all time. Along with Matrix, Terminator. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. These are all my kind of movies. These are the movies that I go back and watch when I have some free time. But anyway, rest in peace to Carl Weathers, man. He would definitely be missed. I don't know what the cause of his death was, but he's definitely gonna be missed, man. I mean, this is one of my guys I grew up watching. You know what I mean? And I think about it all the time. Every year, when people pass away that I grew up watching, it makes me feel a little older because I grew up watching these guys. Like, these are the guys I wanted to be like when I was a kid, and it's just like, damn, they're all leaving. But rest in peace to Carl Weathers, and my condolences to his family and his friends. I just finished watching Sylvester Stallone's short speech about Carl Weathers. And, these are my guys, all of them. All those guys I named, these are all my guys from that time. And that was my favorite time watching these actors. That was my favorite. I love movies today, but not like the way I did in the 80s and 90s. I loved it. And the same with boxing. I love not too much of the 80s because obviously I watched it at that time, but more so in the 90s. You know what I mean? And when these guys pass, it really hurts because that's my childhood. And on my free time, I watch these movies and I go on YouTube and I watch these older guys fight. You know what I mean? So, anyway, man, share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know how you feel about Carl Weathers, the Rocky franchise, the Mandalorian, Predator, or anything that's related to that time and these legends from that time. Any of them. Anyone you want to name. Kurt Russell. You know what I mean? Bruce Willis. All those old school 80s guys. Those are my favorite. They're all like my favorite. You know what I mean? I'm a big Indiana Jones fan as well. I grew up watching those. I was a little young boy, but I grew up watching those movies. You know what I mean? So these are all my favorite guys, man. So it's a big hit to lose Carl. But let me know how you guys feel, and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.